Oof. It all kicks off, doesn't it? The government appear to have set themselves up in the people trafficking business. An interesting diversion. I can't claim I saw that one coming. I did, however, spot some time ago the inevitability of Boris Johnson having to simultaneously apologise and claim that he's done nothing wrong. How on earth could you have predicted that, James? Because he's done it about 5,000 times before, as we have chronicled tirelessly on this programme. It turns out that Jacob Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel are more trustworthy arbiters of Christian theology than the Archbishop of Canterbury. And on it goes. Brandon Lewis today claiming that... I don't even know where you start with Brandon Lewis on a day like today, claiming that Boris Johnson is issuing a fulsome apology but hasn't done anything wrong, but will be issuing an apology because the police have mistakenly decided that he did do something wrong and he fully stands by that decision, but also it's no worse than speeding, which some politicians have in the past done. I mean, it's about defending liars, isn't it? And most people don't have to do it in public. If you want to ring into a radio station and defend a liar, you will, at the very worst, just end up sounding a little bit ridiculous. You know, at least he's not Jeremy Corbyn, you might say, or I think he got all the big calls right. You might brainlessly repeat the mantra that has been WhatsApped into the bloodstream of the Parliamentary Conservative Party. But when you actually have to do it for a living, when you are reduced to defending a law-breaking liar as an actual prerequisite of your job, I'm afraid all bets are off. We are in uncharted waters. I'll say that again because I do worry sometimes that we are so engulfed now in precedent-shattering corruption that we don't notice. This is what he said, isn't it? He said some time ago that his plan was to be so error-prone, to be so beset by gaffes that people won't even know where to start dismantling him or unpicking him because there will be simply so much to choose from. Whether it is a deliberate ploy, as he claimed, or whether it is just a consequence of his utter unfitness for office is a question for the ages. But here's the crucial line that I think needs to be reminded. When defending a law-breaking liar is a requirement of your job, publicly defending a law-breaking liar in direct contravention of the observable evidence, something breaks. Something shatters at the heart of a functioning democracy. And that is, I mean, you could argue, I think, quite persuasively that that's where we have been for some time, but that is categorically where we are now. I mean, even defence lawyers have a moral defence to their work. You know, you are not supposed to ever tell your defence lawyer that you actually did it. For example, you're not supposed to have a cough, even in the privacy of the conference room. You're not supposed to cough to the crime you stand accused of. And under British law, although as they branch out into people trafficking, the British government once again sets its sights upon the British legal institutions, the British legal history, you have the right to the best available defence, even if you're guilty. It's an odd thing to explain. I don't know if you know any criminal defence barristers, but when you always they get asked as they sit around a dinner table, how do you defend someone if you know that they're guilty? And the answer is that our law depends upon it. Everybody deserves a defence. And you're not supposed to take a view on whether or not you know they're guilty or whether or not they are guilty. It's a sort of difficult prerequisite of the job. I'm told it gets easier as the years pass. But what cabinet ministers are reduced to doing now is defending a law-breaking liar who they know to be a law-breaking liar. There's no other precedent. Can you think of any other job where you'd have to do this? I don't know, maybe PR for a Russian oligarch. I just don't know. Or Comical Alley during the Second Gulf War. You remember the fellow who was saying there's no bombs going off here when there were bombs going off like the clappers directly behind him. Where else would it actually be a requirement of your job to defend a law-breaking liar while claiming against all observable evidence that he is neither a lawbreaker nor a liar? And this is really important. I'm about to use the C word, so you might want to alert your Auntie Mabel. But the only possible way in which this can be allowed to unfold, or that this can be permitted to happen, is against the backdrop of cultishness. Cultishness on a scale that we've never seen before in British politics. Cultishness that we've never come close to in British politics. Certainly not in government. I suppose there's an argument that there was an element of comparable cultishness in opposition at various points in our past, and even perhaps on the fringes, the cultishness of an Enoch Powell or a Nigel Farage. Unparalleled cultishness in those two cases. You'll rarely find two bigger cults than Nigel Farage and Enoch Powell when it comes to the intoxicating nature of racist rhetoric. But to actually have one in power, It's not supposed to happen in places like the United Kingdom. We're not supposed to have an actual cult in the heart of our government. And when you have an actual cult in the heart of our government, you have a requirement for all of the high priests and priestesses, all of the Lord and Lady High Panjandrums, all of the holders of office and the sort of holders of the royal train, the sycophants, the cap-doffers and the forelock tuggers on the backbenches of the House of Commons, the fabricults, if you like, the Michael Fabricults and co. You have to now defend a law-breaking liar.